What is good, everybody? I am back with a brand new video, and today I'm going to be giving you my review over the 2022 Calvin Destroyer. Right off the bat, Innova, you did great with the colorways of these Destroyers. Honestly, probably some of my favorite halo plastic yet. I absolutely love the white rimmed halos with the inner solid background. I just think the Calvin Destroyers came out great this year, and I love to see a little bit of a change with the halo plastic. Now, of course, cosmetics aren't going to make this disc fly any better, so let's get into the flight characteristics of this disc. Of course, Innova is going to list this disc as 12, 5, -1, 3, just like any other Destroyer. But considering this one has Calvin's name on it and it's halo plastic, you can expect this disc to be much more overstable than other stock run Destroyers. I got this disc mainly for those windy headwind conditions, and let me tell you, this disc does not budge in any wind, which is phenomenal. Headwinds are going to make disc less stable, and with how overstable this disc is, you can throw it on Annie into a headwind and watch it still pan out. In fact, if you don't have a strong enough headwind, you might still want to put this on an angle like this and still watch it flex out. Honestly, one of the most dependable distance drivers I've thrown, mainly because I know exactly where it's going to land. It's always going to dump hard left, and that just makes for a very consistent shot. I like to throw this disc on big Annie lines, whether that's forehand or backhand, and it flexes out about the middle of the flight and kind of just dumps hard. I have about 400 feet of backhand power, give or take. If you're throwing a little bit harder than that or a little bit less, this could fly slightly different, but if you're around that 400 foot range, it's probably gonna fly pretty similar as it is for me. One thing that I like about overstable discs is that it helps me check distance on certain holes. I know if I throw this flat, I can only get it about the 300, 325 range maybe, and so on 300-foot holes, if I have a big, wide open fairway, I can throw this disc flat and out wide, and I know that it's just gonna fade right to the basket. It makes for a very consistent shot and a very high percentage shot, just because you know physically that you can't throw it that far, so it's just kind of check up right next to the basket. Now, personally, since I don't throw too terribly hard, if I do try to put this on a big hyzer angle, it's typically already coming down at the ground like so because it's so overstable. So it mainly just digs in the ground. But if you do have a little bit more power or you don't put it as high, you're definitely gonna get some huge skips with this disc, which obviously can be nice, but sometimes this is something to think about if you don't want some huge skips to the basket. Now, I personally haven't thrown the 21 Halo Destroyers, but I will say as a little side note that my brother Austin, he bought a 22 Destroyer to replace his 21s, and he personally doesn't think they're as overstable as his 21 Destroyer was. Now, I've seen him throw his 22 a few times and it's still really stable, but compared to his 21, when he throws some big flex forehand lines, his 21 definitely flexes a little bit sooner than his 22 does. Now, I don't know if this is a consistent thing with the 22 runs, because personally, I think this disc is very overstable, but we do all know that Destroyers have kind of made a name for themselves as one of the most inconsistent molds out there, so sometimes you never know what you're gonna get, but definitely with the Calvin Destroyers, it's gonna be a lot more stable than your typical Destroyer. That's just kind of a rule of thumb, just so you know. This disc was definitely everything that I had expected, and I love how these came out. I really like the flight of them, and it's a very consistent and dependable disc for me, and I absolutely love it. But what do you guys think of the Destroyer? I think it's a great disc. If you do bag one, let me know what you think, and that is all I have for you for this video. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Go follow ChaseandChains_ on Instagram, where I post there daily, and we will see you in the next one.